The drink Vivian Reed ordered sat untouched on the bar counter as the man's hot breath hit her neck. She pressed herself further against the bar, the wooden edge digging into her lower back as she searched desperately for an escape route. The crowded Friday night scene at Elixir Lounge had quickly turned from a casual after-work gathering to something far more uncomfortable. "Come on, sweetheart. One drink together. I don't bite, unless you want me to." The man he'd introduced himself as Derek, though Vivian doubted that was his real name, leaned in closer, his cologne overwhelming in its intensity. "I've already told you no, twice." Vivian tried to keep her voice steady despite the anxiety building in her chest. The bartender was busy at the other end and her friends had yet to arrive. "Please respect that and leave me alone." Derek's smile didn't reach his eyes as he placed a hand on the bar beside her, effectively creating a barrier with his arm. "Playing hard to get, I like that in a woman." Vivian's heart raced. She'd dealt with persistent men before, but something about the intensity of Derek's stare made her particularly uneasy. The exit seemed miles away, blocked by the evening crowd. "I believe the lady said no." The deep voice came from behind Derek. Vivian couldn't see who had spoken, but the authoritative tone made Derek turn around, his smirk faltering slightly. A tall man with dark hair and sharp features stepped into view. His navy suit was impeccably tailored, and despite the casual setting of the bar, he carried himself with unmistakable confidence. "Mind your own business, man," Derek shot back, but there was a new hesitation in his voice. "The woman's comfort is my business when I see someone failing to respect boundaries." The stranger's expression remained calm but resolute. "I suggest you move along and find someone who's actually interested in your company." For a tense moment, Vivian thought Derek might escalate the situation. Instead, after a muttered curse, he backed away, disappearing into the crowd with a final glare. Vivian released a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "Thank you," she said to her unexpected defender. That was getting uncomfortable. "Noah Grayson," the man offered with a slight smile, though he maintained a respectful distance. "And no thanks necessary. I've seen that guy pull the same routine before." "Vivian Reed." She extended her hand, which he shook firmly. "Can I buy you a drink? Least I can do." Noah hesitated, checking his watch. "Actually, I was just leaving," but he paused, reconsidering. "You know what? I can stay for one drink." As Noah settled onto the bar stool beside her, Vivian had no idea that her rescuer owned not only this bar but a chain of luxury hotels across 3 continents. Noah Grayson, billionaire hospitality mogul, had just canceled a meeting with potential investors to have a drink with her. And for reasons he couldn't quite explain to himself yet, it felt like the right decision. "So, what brings you to Elixir on a Friday night?" Noah asked after they'd ordered their drinks, a whiskey neat for him, another gin and tonic for her. "I'm meeting friends from work, but they're running late." "Probably stuck on conference calls." Vivian smiled, feeling more at ease. "I'm a marine biologist at the Coastal Research Institute. Friday night emergencies usually involve stubborn dolphins or temperamental equipment." Noah's eyebrows raised with genuine interest. "Marine biology. That's fascinating. What kind of research do you do?" Vivian felt the familiar spark of passion as she described her work studying coral reef ecosystems and their adaptation to climate change. To her surprise, Noah asked intelligent questions that showed he was actually listening, not just making polite conversation. "Sorry, I'm rambling," she finally said, realizing she'd been talking for nearly 15 minutes. "Don't apologize." It's refreshing to hear someone speak with such passion about their work. Noah's smile reached his eyes, creating small crinkles at the corners. "Most people I talk to are only passionate about profit margins." "And what about you? What do you do?" Vivian asked, taking a sip of her drink. A brief flicker of hesitation crossed Noah's face. "I'm in the hospitality industry." "Like hotel management?" Vivian asked. "Something like that," Noah replied with a slight smile. "But enough about work. Tell me about the last place you traveled that took your breath away." The conversation flowed easily after that. They discovered a shared love for scuba diving, classic films, and spicy Thai food. When Vivian's phone buzzed with a message from her friends saying they couldn't make it after all, she found herself not minding in the slightest. 2 hours passed in what felt like minutes. When Noah finally checked his watch again, his expression showed genuine regret. "I actually do have to go now. I have an early morning tomorrow." Vivian nodded, surprised by her own disappointment. "Of course. Thanks for rescuing me and for the great conversation." Noah hesitated, then reached into his wallet and pulled out a business card. It was simple, just his name and a phone number. "I'd like to continue this conversation sometime, maybe over dinner." Vivian took the card, noticing it held no company name or title. "I'd like that." After Noah left, Vivian stared at the simple card, turning it over in her fingers. She pulled out her phone and, before she could overthink it, sent a text to the number. "This is Vivian from the bar. Thanks again for stepping in tonight." The response came almost immediately. "The pleasure was mine. Dinner tomorrow at 8. I know a place with excellent Thai food." Vivian smiled as she typed her reply. "It's a date." What Vivian didn't see was Noah in the back of his luxury car, smiling at his phone like a teenager. His assistant, seated across from him, raised an eyebrow. "Cancel my dinner with the investment group tomorrow," Noah said, still looking at his phone. "The one you've been trying to schedule for 3 months?" his assistant asked incredulously. "Yes, that one. Something more important came up." The restaurant Noah chose was intimate but not ostentatious, a small Thai place tucked away on a side street. When Vivian arrived, she found him already waiting at a corner table, dressed more casually than the night before in dark jeans and a light blue button-down shirt. "I hope this place is okay," Noah said after they'd exchanged greetings. "It doesn't look like much from the outside, but the food is authentic." "It's perfect," Vivian replied, glancing around at the colorful decor and the framed photos of Thailand on the walls. "How did you find it?" "The owner used to work at one of my," Noah caught himself. "At a hotel where I used to work. When she decided to open her own restaurant, I became a regular." Throughout dinner, Vivian noticed that Noah seemed to navigate their conversation away from details about his work, though he spoke freely about his travels and his childhood growing up in Seattle. She found herself doing most of the talking, sharing stories about diving expeditions and her passion for ocean conservation. "You know," she said after finishing a story about a research trip to the Great Barrier Reef, "I've been talking about myself all evening." "You're either a very good listener or very good at deflecting." Noah's smile turned slightly rueful as he set down his fork. "Maybe a bit of both. The truth is, I find your life far more interesting than mine." "I doubt that," Vivian replied. "There must be something about hotel management that's exciting." Noah took a sip of water, then seemed to come to a decision. "Vivian, there's something I should probably tell you." Before he could continue, the restaurant owner approached their table, beaming. "Mr. Grayson. So good to see you again. Everything is to your satisfaction?" "As always, Malai," Noah replied with a warm smile. "The food is excellent. Anything for you, sir, after what you did for my family." The woman placed a hand over her heart. "Please, dessert is on the house tonight." After Malai had returned to the kitchen, Vivian raised an eyebrow. "Just hotel management, huh?" Noah sighed. "I may have understated my position a bit. I actually own several hotels." "Several as in?" "As in the Grayson Hotel Group." Vivian's eyes widened. Even she had heard of the Grayson Hotel Group, known for its ultra-luxury properties in major cities and exotic locations worldwide. "You own the Grayson Hotel Group?" "As in, you're that Noah Grayson?" Noah nodded, looking slightly uncomfortable. "I don't usually lead with that information when I meet new people. It tends to change the dynamic of the conversation." Vivian sat back, processing this revelation. "So that's why you were so vague about your work. You weren't just a good Samaritan at the bar, you own the place." "Guilty," Noah admitted. "But that's not why I stepped in, and it's definitely not why I asked you to dinner." Vivian studied him for a moment, searching for signs of insincerity but finding none. "Why did you then?" "Because in a world where most people want something from me, you just wanted to talk about coral reefs and ocean acidification," Noah said simply. "Do you know how refreshing that is?" Despite her initial surprise, Vivian found herself relaxing again. Well, I'm still the same person I was 5 minutes ago, just slightly more impressed with my dinner companion. Noah's relief was visible. So you're not going to run for the door, not before dessert, Vivian replied with a smile, especially since it's on the house. The evening continued, and if anything, the atmosphere between them became more comfortable now that Noah's secret was out. As they shared a mango sticky rice dessert, Vivian found herself telling him about her dream to establish a marine research foundation focused on coral reef restoration. The funding for that kind of work is always a challenge, she explained. Most grants focus on short-term projects, but real ecosystem restoration takes decades of committed work. Noah listened intently, asking thoughtful questions about her vision. When they finally left the restaurant, he walked her to her car, their conversation continuing without a pause. "I had a wonderful time," Vivian said as they reached her modest sedan. "So did I," Noah replied. "Would it be too forward to ask when I might see you again?" "Well, I'm free on Tuesday evening," Vivian offered. "Tuesday it is," Noah confirmed, his smile warming his entire face. "I know another place I think you'll enjoy." Their second date turned into a third and then a fourth. On each occasion, Noah chose venues that were special without being extravagant: a hidden jazz club, a botanical garden with a nighttime light exhibition, a cooking class where they laughed over their failed attempts at soufflés. Vivian gradually learned more about Noah's world, how he'd built his hotel empire from a single struggling property he'd purchased at 24 with an inheritance and a risky bank loan. How he valued quality and authenticity over flash and spectacle. How despite his wealth, he still flew commercial sometimes, just to remember what real people experience. 3 weeks into their relationship, Noah invited Vivian to his home for dinner. She had expected something grand, but the oceanfront property still took her breath away, a modern structure of glass and sustainable materials that seemed to blend into the coastal landscape. "You designed this?" Vivian asked as Noah gave her a tour. "Collaborated on the design," Noah corrected. "I had a vision, but architects know better than to let billionaires design their own houses." It was the first time he directly referenced his wealth, and the casual way he said "billionaire" made Vivian stop in her tracks. "What's wrong?" Noah asked, noticing her hesitation. "Nothing, it's just, sometimes I forget who you are in the world, I mean." Vivian gestured vaguely, "and then something reminds me, and it's a bit surreal." Noah's expression grew serious. "Does it bother you? My money?" "Not bother exactly," Vivian replied carefully. "But sometimes I wonder what someone like you sees in someone like me." Noah took her hands in his. "Vivian, I've dated women who were attracted to my wealth, my status, what I could do for their careers or social standing. I've never met anyone who looks at me the way you do, like I'm just a man, not a balance sheet or a business opportunity." "You are just a man to me," Vivian said softly. "A pretty fantastic one, but still just a man." Noah's kiss was gentle at first, then deepened as Vivian responded. When they finally pulled apart, both slightly breathless, Noah pressed his forehead to hers. "I'm falling for you, Vivian Reed, and it has nothing to do with coral reefs or billions." "Good," Vivian whispered back, "because I'm falling for you too." Dinner was forgotten as they discovered each other more fully that night, their connection deepening beyond conversation and shared interests into something more profound and intimate. In the weeks that followed, Noah and Vivian settled into a rhythm that accommodated both their busy lives. Noah had business trips that couldn't be avoided, but he made a point of returning to see her, sometimes flying across continents just for a dinner date before heading to his next meeting. Vivian, meanwhile, continued her work at the Research Institute, refusing Noah's offers to fund her projects directly. "I need to earn those grants on my own merit," she explained. "It matters to me." Noah respected her independence, though he found other ways to support her passion, connecting her with influential conservationists in his network, attending her presentations, and once chartering a boat so she could show him firsthand the reef systems she was studying. 2 months into their relationship, the first challenge emerged when a tabloid ran a story about Noah's marine biologist girlfriend, with unflattering speculation about her motives. The article was accompanied by paparazzi photos of them leaving a restaurant, Vivian's expression caught in an awkward moment that made her look calculating and cold. "I'm so sorry about this," Noah said when he called to warn her about the article. "My PR team is already demanding a retraction." Vivian, who had never considered the public aspect of dating someone like Noah, felt a wave of anxiety. "Is this going to happen often?" "Unfortunately, it might," Noah admitted. "My last serious relationship ended partly because of the media intrusion. I understand if it's too much." "I'm not saying that," Vivian clarified. "I just need to process it. I'm a scientist, Noah. I'm used to analyzing data in obscurity, not seeing my face in gossip columns." "Take all the time you need," Noah said, though Vivian could hear the worry in his voice. For 3 days, Vivian contemplated what a life with Noah would truly mean: the scrutiny, the assumptions people would make, the inevitable whispers that she was with him for his money. She thought about the simple life she'd envisioned for herself, focused on her research and maybe someday a family. On the 4th day, she called Noah. "Can we meet?" They met at a quiet spot on the beach near her apartment. Noah looked tired, his usual confidence dimmed by the uncertainty of where they stood. "I've been thinking," Vivian began as they walked along the shore. "Before you say anything," Noah interrupted, "I want you to know I've been looking into ways to be more private, to keep our relationship out of the public eye. I could scale back some public appearances, be more careful about where we go." "Noah," Vivian stopped him gently. "That's not what I want." His face fell and she quickly continued. "I don't want you changing your life or hiding away because of me. The truth is, I don't care what gossip columns say. I care about you. The real you, not the billionaire, not the hotel magnate, just Noah." Relief washed over Noah's features. "So you're not ending things?" "No," Vivian said firmly. "I'm saying I choose you, tabloids and all, but I have one condition." "Name it." "I need to maintain my professional identity. I can't be known just as Noah Grayson's girlfriend in my field." "My work is too important to me." Noah nodded immediately. "Absolutely, I would never want to overshadow your career. In fact," he hesitated, then continued, "I've been thinking about something, but I wasn't sure how to bring it up." "What is it?" "The Grayson Group has a foundation that supports various causes. We've never had an environmental focus, but I've been talking to the board about creating a marine conservation initiative." "Not for you to run, I understand why that would be inappropriate, but as a funding source for researchers like you." Vivian considered this. "That actually sounds amazing, as long as grants are awarded based on scientific merit, not personal connections." "I wouldn't have it any other way," Noah assured her. "In fact, I'd want you to help establish the Scientific Review Committee, then recuse yourself from its operation." As they continued their walk, the tension between them dissolved, replaced by renewed excitement about their shared future. That evening, as they sat on Noah's deck watching the sunset over the ocean, Vivian realized how seamlessly their worlds had begun to merge: her scientific passion and his business acumen, creating something stronger together. 6 months into their relationship, Noah surprised Vivian with a trip to the Maldives, where his company had recently acquired a property. "The real reason for this trip," Noah explained as they settled into their overwater bungalow, "is that there's a coral restoration project nearby that I thought you'd want to see." The next morning, Vivian found herself meeting with the project's lead scientists, who were using innovative techniques to regrow damaged reefs. Their work was impressive but constrained by limited resources. "They need more funding," Vivian told Noah that evening as they dined on the private deck of their bungalow. "What they're doing could be revolutionary if scaled up." Noah watched her with a soft expression. "You know, when I look at you talking about saving reefs, I see the same passion I felt when I was building my first hotel, that feeling that you're creating something that matters." "It does matter," Vivian agreed. "These ecosystems support billions of people worldwide." "I have something to show you," Noah said, pulling out his tablet. He opened a document titled Grayson Marine Conservation Initiative and passed it to her. As Vivian scrolled through the proposal, her eyes widened. The initiative outlined a $50 million commitment to marine conservation projects globally, with an emphasis on coral reef protection and restoration. Noah, I don't know what to say. Say you'll help guide it, Noah replied. Not as my girlfriend, but as a scientific advisor. The foundation will operate independently with a board of environmental experts. I want to do this right. Vivian set down the tablet, moved beyond words. You did this because of me. Because of you, I started paying attention to something I'd overlooked, Noah corrected. But I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. My hotels depend on beautiful beaches and healthy oceans. This isn't charity, it's investing in our collective future. That night, as they lay together under the stars visible through their bungalow's skylight, Vivian realized she had never felt so completely understood by anyone before. The next morning, Noah seemed uncharacteristically nervous at breakfast. He kept checking his phone and glancing at his watch. Is everything okay? Business emergency? Vivian asked, concerned by his distraction. No, nothing like that, Noah assured her. Actually, I've arranged something special for today, a private dive at a reef site the conservation team is monitoring. During the boat ride to the dive site, Noah grew quieter, though he smiled whenever Vivian caught his eye. When they finally reached their destination and prepared their diving gear, he insisted on checking her equipment twice. I've been diving for years, you know, Vivian teased. I'm not going to forget to turn on my air. Just being thorough, Noah replied, his voice a little tight. The descent into the clear blue waters revealed a healthy section of reef teeming with life. Fish in every color darted among the coral formations, and visibility extended for what seemed like eternity. Vivian was immediately absorbed in the underwater wonderland, pointing out species to Noah as they swam side by side. About 20 minutes into the dive, Noah tapped her shoulder and pointed to a particularly beautiful coral formation. As they approached, Vivian noticed something unusual, a small waterproof container secured to the reef with marine-safe materials. Noah gestured for her to open it. Confused but curious, Vivian carefully flipped the latch and found a waterproof note inside. She unfolded it to read 4 simple words. Will you marry me? Her head snapped up to find Noah holding a ring, his expression visible behind his mask, nervous, hopeful, and completely vulnerable. Even underwater, Vivian couldn't hold back her emotion. She nodded vigorously, bubbles escaping from her regulator as she tried to suppress a joyful laugh. Noah slipped the ring, a beautiful sapphire surrounded by smaller diamonds, onto her finger. They embraced awkwardly with their dive gear, but the moment couldn't have been more perfect for either of them. On the boat ride back, once they'd removed their gear, Vivian couldn't stop looking at the ring. It's the exact color of the reef waters, she marveled. I had it custom designed, Noah explained. The sapphire is ethically sourced and the diamonds are lab-grown. I figured the future Mrs. Grayson would appreciate a ring that didn't harm the environment she's working to protect. Mrs. Grayson, Vivian repeated, testing the sound of it. That's going to take some getting used to. We can take all the time you need before the wedding, Noah assured her. I just knew I wanted you to be my wife. You've changed my life, Vivian. And you've changed mine, she replied softly, though I'm still going to keep my professional name as Dr. Reed. I wouldn't have it any other way, Noah agreed. Their engagement made headlines in both business publications and society pages, but the couple maintained a united front through the media attention. When interviewed about their relationship, Noah consistently highlighted Vivian's work and accomplishments, making it clear he saw her as his equal partner, not an accessory to his success. The wedding took place a year later on a private beach at one of Noah's properties. The ceremony was intimate, with only close friends and family in attendance, though the reception expanded to include colleagues from both their professional spheres. In lieu of gifts, the couple requested donations to the newly established Grayson Marine Conservation Initiative, which had already begun funding promising restoration projects. During their vows, Noah surprised Vivian by announcing an additional personal gift. In honor of our marriage, I'm establishing the Dr. Vivian Reed Research Grant for Women in Marine Sciences. a $10 million endowment to support female scientists continuing your legacy. There wasn't a dry eye on the beach as Vivian, overcome with emotion, kissed her new husband. 3 years later, Noah and Vivian welcomed twins, a boy and a girl named after pioneering marine conservationists. Their home, once a showcase of modern architecture, now featured child-proof edges and educational ocean-themed decor in the nursery. The Grayson Marine Conservation Initiative had grown into one of the most respected environmental funding sources globally, while Noah continued to expand his hotel empire with a new emphasis on sustainable luxury. Vivian divided her time between raising their children, directing field research, and consulting on environmental policy, a balance that sometimes proved challenging but always fulfilling. On the anniversary of the night they met, Noah and Vivian returned to Elixir Lounge, taking the same seats at the bar where their story had begun. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if that guy hadn't been harassing me that night?" Vivian asked, swirling the ice in her gin and tonic. "If you hadn't stepped in," Noah considered the question seriously. "I'd like to think we would have found each other anyway. Some connections are just meant to be." The marine biologist and the billionaire, Vivian mused with a smile, not the most likely pair. "I disagree," Noah countered, taking her hand. "We're exactly alike where it matters. We both care deeply about creating something meaningful in this world, you with your reefs, me with my hotels. And now with our family," Vivian added softly. "The best creation of all," Noah agreed, leaning in to kiss her. As their lips met, Vivian reflected on how a moment of discomfort in a crowded bar had led to the greatest happiness of her life, proof that sometimes the most unexpected encounters could lead to exactly where you were meant to be all along.